You've just typed the end to your manuscript, and boy, what a good feeling that is. But what comes next? In this episode of The Writer's Journey, we're going to talk about editing and beta readers, so stay tuned. A lot of writers take years writing their novel. Sometimes when their first book, they want to take extra care to it and they work on it. Maybe not all at once. Sometimes people work full-time jobs and they don't have time to work on it every day, so they work on it when they can. But no matter how long it takes you to get your manuscript done, you do not want to just throw it out there for people to read it. It's going to take a little bit of time because even though you wrote your book, it takes a long time to perfect your book. As soon as you finish writing it, you want to start on the next draft. You want to start editing it. You want to start to get things tightened up and bring your story to life. And that's something that every writer really wants to do. But stop. Don't do that. Okay. You're too close to your book. You need to get away from it for a little bit. Take a break from it. Store it on your computer or wherever you put it. And leave it be. Let it sit there. Let it fester. Let your mind kind of forget what you wrote. Write something else. Write a short story. Read a couple books. Do anything. Go swimming. Go hiking. Just get away from that manuscript. And then in a couple weeks, or maybe even a month, you come back to it. I know a month is a long time, but trust me, it helps. Then come back to your manuscript and start reading it and refining it and tightening it up and working on it. And you'll see that being away from it for a time you'll learn a lot of things that you forgot that you wrote, and it'll even maybe surprise you, or it may even go, shock you, like, why did I write that? So get away from your manuscript and then start working on it. Now, my videos primarily touch on self-publishing, being an independent author and publisher, and doing it yourself. Now, of course, there are different routes to take when you're going to try to shop your manuscript around to literary agents and the big publishing houses out of New York. But I focused primarily on self-publishing. But there is a lot of resources out there where you can find people who will pass along their information about finding a literary agent and finding the right publisher and what to do to get to that point. We're going to focus just on self-publishing because that's what I know. That's what I've done for 25 plus years. And I think I've gotten okay with it. Am I great with it? No. And I don't think I ever will be. And that's okay. It's just always a learning process. So once I start working on my manuscript, doing the second draft, the edit, tightening up, I usually use the speech function on my computer and have my computer read it back to me. Back in the day, it used to be really monotone. It used to sound like this when it read it back to you, but now it's really fluid and you can catch a lot of things. So usually on my first read through, I'm listening to my book and I'm making changes as it comes through. And once I've done that, I print off a hard copy and I read it again, and then I go through, because a lot of times what you won't hear here, you'll see here, and especially on a printed format. I don't try to do a lot of editing on my computer. So as a self-published author, I don't hire editors. But I have my wife who is really good. She's been editing my stuff now for all the time I've been doing it, and she has gotten really good at catching certain things and tightening up the story. Um, so once I've gone through my listen and I've gone through my read on a hard copy, then I print it off for her again and give it to her and let her read it. And she's not a fast reader, but she gets it done and she's very diligent in what she finds. And then once she gives me her suggestions to the story, I'll go through them. And if I agree with them, I'll make the changes. And if I don't agree with them, I don't make the changes. It's your story. But you also have to realize that there are people who are wanting to help you make that story shine. The editing process is the whole thing about tightening up your story and making it coherent. You don't write a book by yourself. Just remember that. So now, once I've put in her changes in the manuscript, I'll go back through and read it again. Um, Sometimes I'll take a little bit of a break because by that time I'm pretty close to the book or the short story, and I don't want to miss things because I am too close to the story. Just like when you're done with it originally, put it away for a week or so, then go back to it. So once I'm done reading it again, that's when I pass it out to the beta readers. I've got a couple good beta readers. I have one that's out west, and he does a really great job. He really knows the English language and structure of a story, and I pass it on to him. And he's pretty diligent about getting it back to me. And he doesn't spare my feelings. He tells me what he thinks, and he tells me what should work and what doesn't work. And I really, really appreciate that. And then I have another beta reader who is a friend of mine. She is in Cincinnati, which is about 3 hours from where I'm at. So I send it to her sometimes and let her read it. I have a couple other beta readers that have read my stuff. So find people that you know or someone who can refer a beta reader to you that they trust. And I always send a PDF copy of my book. I never send a Microsoft Word version. I never send a hard copy. I always send a PDF, and they can make their changes with the PDF. And I feel comfortable doing that. And if you don't feel comfortable sending your work out to someone you do not know, then don't send it. But friends are going to spare your feelings. Someone that you don't know will tell you exactly what they think, and it'll help tighten your story up and make it better before you go to publication. Give your readers, beta readers, a list that of questions. Did they like the flow of the story? Did they like the main character? What did they think of the villain? What didn't they like about the main character? What didn't they like about the villain? Things like that. So to help you um, hone your skills as a writer. So give them the list of questions when they're done reading, and they can go through those questions. Now, I don't do that to every beta reader. Um, Primarily newer beta readers that I've never used before. So I have had beta readers who have gotten the manuscript and just never came through, and it happens. They didn't. They either say they're going to do it and then they don't do it, and it kind of I don't know if it really hurts my feelings, but it kind of, if you're going to say you're going to do something, you should do it. Or at least contact the writer back and say, hey, I'm not going to have time to read this. I'm sorry. And send the copy back or destroy the copy or whatever. Searching for an editor can be painstaking. Finding the right editor who is going to take your story and do their best job. You don't want to find one online that you don't really have never heard of or don't know. You want to get references, read their references on their website, check into people, contact people, some of the references, contact them and say, hey, how did this editor work for you? Do you think she'd work well for my book? Um, like I said, I don't really use an editor like that, so I've never had that experience. My wife is my editor, and I do a lot of it myself too, and it's worked for me now for all these years. Um, and they say that you shouldn't self-edit, and I don't feel like that. I am self-editing because my wife is doing it for me, and she doesn't spare my feelings. Trust me, she'll tell me if something doesn't work for her. We've had conversations and almost arguments about parts of my story and how they should work and how they shouldn't work. And but in the end, I know she really wants the story to shine, and she really wants me to be proud of it in the end. Once you get your editing done, you get your beta readers back, you've got all your stuff put in, suggestions from your beta readers, and you're ready to publish. No, you're not. You need to read it again. And my wife usually reads the book again on another edit, just to go through it, just to make sure everything looks good. Usually, when I get in a proof copy, like a proof copy of the Lost Adventures of Captain Hawkland here, which is coming out on August 12th, by the way. She'll read the hard copy because she'll catch some mistakes in a book form that she would never catch in the printed form that I print off on my printer for her. So printer. I said that a few extra times. But then you want to do your final read. So get your proof copy in and get a copy for your editor if you can, or someone you trust, or your beta readers. Even I've even sent proof copies to my beta readers to go through. So you can do that. You can just drop ship it from whichever printer company you're using. I use Amazon, but you can do it from Ingram Spark or Drafted Digital or wherever you want to use. And you'll find mistakes. And then when you're done, then you're ready to publish. And then you realize you've published the book. It's ready to go out. And you find a mistake. Don't panic. I mean, how many times have you read a book from a major publisher and you have found mistakes? Now, they're not as, they're few and far between when it comes to a publishing house out of New York printing a book, but it does happen and mistakes seep through. But with self-publishing, once you've published your book, you can still go in and make changes in your manuscript and re-upload it. It's not the end of the world, and you're going to find them. I find them. I've done re-edits on my books, especially my early stuff, my early Captain Hawkland books. I sat down and did a re-edit on all of them before we did the new covers back in 2022, 23. So don't panic. If you find a mistake after your book is published, you can make the changes and re-upload it. The craft of writing isn't an easy one. Getting your story out, getting it edited, and if you really want to be a published writer, it takes a lot of work. Editing is the key to building your story and to make sure that when you're said and done and it's in someone's hands and they're reading it, you know you've done the best job that you can possibly do. And here's an adage that I usually tell people. I am a better writer today than I was yesterday. And tomorrow, I'll be a better writer than I am today. So remember, writers write and writers keep writing and they get published. So that's about all I'm going to have for this episode. Just to let you know, next weekend, actually, this weekend, you're watching this on Sunday. So I am currently in Kokomo, Indiana, and I am at QuadCon, which is right here, and it's in the Markland Mall there in Kokomo. So if you're in the area and you've watched this in time on Sunday, we're going to be there till 6 o'clock. So if not, we'll see you next week here on A Writer's Journey. So for right now, I'm going to leave you with your moment of inspiration.
The best advice is, writers write. You just got to write. You have to be willing to throw it out. You have to be willing to do it just for yourself. Someone said, the greatest gift you can give people is your story. And that was a big thing for me because I really thought, who the hell wants my story? Mm-hmm. And so you have to be willing to be vulnerable and put yourself out there. I mean, there's a lot of work that you have to do, but you have to do the same thing that I do every day, which is, can I just let it go? Just see what comes out of me and trust that. And then you switch gears. Like for me, creativity is always, there's one mode which is spewing and then one mode which is assessing and editing. And you can't do it at the same time. And I think a lot of people, the reason why they're not creative is they try to do it at the same time. Mm-hmm. They're judging every sentence as it's coming out. And you have to just kind of blow it all out. And then the next day, look at it and go, what's of value here?